Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Disruptive Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Jay Jackson. This is our first in-person episode, so you should know I'm super excited. Virtual was cool, but being able to sit down with another leader face-to-face, have a conversation, feel the energy, feel the vibe. I just think that goes a whole lot further in terms of us being able to deliver practical steps, valuable information and knowledge to help you change your life. I told him that I was only going to use one word, and I'm going to go ahead and get that word out of the way right now. And y'all know, because I'm all about disrupting shit. All right. So today's guest is none other than Dr. Sinclair Gray. When I was doing my research and getting prepared for this conversation, there were a few things that stood out to me. One thing that stood out to me is that this brother is all about change and transformation. His background, I'll let him tell his story because he can do it a lot better than I can. But the thing that I love most is that he is a servant leader. He is a man of God. He is a man of faith. So buckle your seatbelt. Let's jump right into it. Dr. Gray, brother, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege. So I appreciate being here with you for one-on-one.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. So like we were chatting before, we went live on this conversation. And one of the things that stood out most to me is we were talking about how some of us forget sometimes. Right. We forget how things once were. We forget what it's like. And I could even say, like, as a parent, right? I know I've got two kids, a daughter that's 23, son that's 22. And then I've had those moments sometimes where I forgot like what it's like to be a 22-year-old
Right.
or a 23-year-old. For you and the work that you do, why do you think it's so easy for us to forget the lessons that were so important and vital on our journey that we can go back and share with other people?
Well, excellent question. I think the reason why many of us forget is because we become too comfortable with success.
Mm.
What happens is that when you're starting off, whatever it is, whether you want to have your type of business, ministry, whatever it is, you have this hunger and you have this fire. But all of a sudden, once you start tapping into success, money starts coming, things start coming easy. All of a sudden, you lose that fire. You start taking things for granted. So what happens is that you all of a sudden have this level of expectation that's supposed to happen. And there's nothing wrong with expecting it to happen, but you lose that fire. It was that time whereby you got up early in the morning, you rolled up your sleeves and used to grind hard. But all of a sudden, now you're hiring other people to do certain things. And when you're doing that, you lose a lot. Classic example, my father, God rest his soul, had a limousine business. And he retired from Amtrak, decided to have his own limousine business. He was out there grinding hard, grinding. And he said, look, man, you're in school, working on your master's. Why don't you come work for me? I'm like, cool beans. I'll work for Dad. No problem. And we had a couple good contracts. And mind you, I told you, my dad was retired. So he was getting pension, Social Security. He also had a business. Me, my sole source of income was working for him.
Got you.
So I told him, I said, look, let's go ahead. I said, let me go out and get some other contracts. His whole philosophy, no, we're comfortable with what we have. Well, about 6 or 7 months, some of those contracts decided to dwindle down. Some of those people weren't booking us for limousine services as frequent as they used to, as they previously was. He's not upset. I'm upset, forgive my word, I'm pissed because we're talking about disrupting leadership. Yeah. I'm pissed because I'm like, Dad, I'm not getting paid. What's up? No, someone doesn't call, I don't get paid. Right. I'm getting paid per driver, per time I drive. And so, we had a big argument. So my whole philosophy, like, look, man, you're getting pension and you're getting your Social Security.
Right? You got streams.
You got streams. You don't need this. Right. I need this. I gave up my job to work for you. Yeah, it was fine in the beginning, but he lost that hunger because I saw him when he first started.
Mm.
He was working for another company. He got tired of working for that company after he had retired. So he was out there 5, 6 o'clock in the morning at the hotels, grinding, passing out cars, meeting people, wheeling and dealing. But all of a sudden he got some good contracts
Mm.
and he stopped hustling. And my
Mm.
thing, okay, fine, okay, you don't have to hustle. Let me hustle.
Right.
But he didn't want me to get out there and hustle like that no more. But he became comfortable. So
Mm.
I think a lot of times we forget how hard it was, and we are so dependent on certain contracts, whether it's a federal contract or a state contract, or maybe whatever contracts we may have or accounts. You're so depending on that one that if it gets snatched from you,
Mm-hmm.
you have nothing else to fall on. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're crying because we've lost that. We've lost that grind. We've lost that hustle. And I think that that's something that we totally forget, that something can be snatched away as quickly as you got it. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about how comfortable we get,
yeah,
right? It's almost like the lion or the alligator. Like
yeah,
that's the best time to attack them is after they've eaten because
yeah,
they bellies is full,
exactly.
right? Which brings me to it's a topic that's happening in our country. Folks who and this is not to get your political view, but if you
Mm,
want to share it, we're open to have
right.
that. But right now, I think a lot of folks had gotten comfortable with the status quo
Oh yeah,
with things, and you got unfortunately some folks right now who can't go get food because of
yeah.
things that are happening within our government. And I bring that up because I want to challenge people to stop being so comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, things can be snatched away from you
Mm-hmm.
at a moment's notice. Like I was telling you a little bit of my story,
Mm-hmm.
and the career that I thought I was going to do 30 years in the military,
Mm-hmm.
it was taken away from me
Right.
at a moment's notice. So when we talk about change and status quo breaking, which is what disruptive leadership is all about, and I think sometimes, and you tell me if this happens for you, when you talk about disruption and change, do people often think that you're trying to destroy things?
Yes.
Ah, why do you think that's the case?
Because they're so used to a certain mindset.
Okay,
They're used to something, as you just mentioned, they're used to the status quo.
okay,
I don't want to disrupt my comfort zone.
right,
I don't want to make somebody mad.
mm,
Once again, we're not talking political, I don't want to make the man mad.
right, for sure, for sure.
I'm going to use my H word. Who the hell is the man?
Mm.
And why are you giving the man
And
that
yeah,
much
who gave
power?
that? Who gave him that power? Yeah, for sure.
If you're calling somebody the man, then you ain't nothing but a modern day slave.
Hmm.
And when you know who you are, you don't allow the man to
Right,
confine you.
for sure, for
You
sure.
say, the hell with the man.
Right,
I'm going to create my own. I'm
right,
going to know how to work the system. So if I work the system, I know how maybe to disrupt the system.
right,
But you got to know the system first.
right.
So,
Yeah, no, and I think and that's why I tell people you brought up something that I tell people often. Like the system is designed to work exactly the way the people who designed it to work.
exactly.
It's doing what they designed it to do. But I tell us all the time, like, hey, we just got to learn that system,
Yes.
right? Like, learn how the system works because like I tell people, I believe that racism exists? Yes. Do I
Mm-hmm.
believe that there are some bigots out there in the world? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that the primary motivation behind the transatlantic slave trade was the green dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Oh,
believe the
yeah.
primary motivation was race. But most people can't kind of fathom that. And so when I tell them like, look, learn this system, that way the system don't control you. Like
Exactly.
you can stick your hand out there and grab whatever resources, whether it's money, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. Will you face some challenges
Right.
sometimes because of your skin color? Absolutely.
Most definitely.
That's just the world that we live in. But there's also some things that you can do to put yourself in a better position. So I looked at, but let's talk about the work that you are specifically doing. All right. So you
Yeah.
you talk about networking.
Right.
You talk about change.
Right.
So kind of give the audience a little bit of your backstory around how you got into that work and why you're so passionate about it.
Okay. Well, My dad told me when I left high school, he said, son, network with people.
Mm,
And he said, leave them ends alone.
for sure.
And I went to a proud HBCU. And then I left the HBCU because of money, went to University of Maryland where I got my bachelor's from.
Okay.
And at that time, I was networking hard at Virginia State where I started at.
Okay.
Came to Maryland, forgot how to network.
Okay.
Took it for granted, bro.
Gotcha.
Hung with the brothers.
Ah.
The brothers were cool. But I had a lot of whites and a lot of folks of different ethnic groups in my class, and they were always trying to get me to hang out.
Okay.
And I said, no. Number one, the brothers who I was dealing with, they weren't drinking. They
Mhm.
weren't smoking. Many of the whites and brothers and people from other ethnic groups, they were drinking.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, I'm not going. I don't drink to get drunk.
Right.
But looking back, I realized many of them became CEOs,
Gotcha.
doctors,
I
and
got
things
you.
of that sort. And I didn't network with them. So let's fast forward. Um, been in sales, got in sales, and then I was part of a chamber of commerce. And this old white woman told me, she called me son. She said, son, if you want to make it in this world, you want to make it in this chamber, you better start knowing people.
Relationships.
She didn't say relationship. She said, you better start knowing people.
Okay. Okay.
I said, okay. Then I met another guy who came up with your term, relationships.
Okay.
So, and that's when I heard the phrase, it's not so much what you know, it's who you know. So I got into the whole concept of learning about networking and, got into sales. And I realized in sales, when I was living in Maryland, I worked for a company and I was very successful.
Okay.
But I realized my success was not so much in the relationships I built with my customers. It was built with certain technicians that work for this company. I built a tremendous success, Jay,
Gotcha.
to the point whereby they were giving me leads.
Oh wow.
Had a buddy system.
Okay.
Every lead you give me that closes, I will give you $50.
Mm.
Can I tell you, because I parlayed and worked those relationships so well, I became number 5, the number 5 salesperson in the whole Southeast region.
Nice.
I was good in sales, but I built relationships.
Mm-hmm.
When management was telling people to make 40 calls a day and knock on 3 doors, I was knocking on 10 doors, still doing my sales, but I refused to make phone calls. I was knocking on 10 doors, but I was closing. They want you to close 15 deals a month. I was closing 25 to 35 sales a month, all because I had built relationships.
Yep.
Let's bring it down here to Georgia. Came to Georgia, moved down to Georgia in 2014, and I took what I learned about networking and I made it my mission to teach people how to network because people don't know how to network.
For sure.
They think networking is simply a business card quota.
Right. How many can I toss out?
How many can I give? How many, you go to some of these networking events, you have people walk up to you, here's my business card. Who are you?
Right. Right.
Or nowadays you got the digital card. Can you scan my card? No, I can't scan your card.
Right.
When I need to see your card. And people don't know how to network because they have this idea whereby, once you give me your card, magically that person's going to call me.
Right.
And they don't follow up. So I wrote the book to teach people how to network because I've learned enough that when you network and you network properly and you know how to do it, it can prevent you from making a ton of mistakes.
Right.
And 2, it could save you a lot of money. I could safely say 90 to 95% of my clients come through networking because I meet people, I perform a great service, and then they refer. And then I'm always helping people out because you have to be service minded.
Yep.
And that's what I bring in because of my ministry part, because I'm always helping people. So networking is helping people. I'm meeting not just what you do, but how can I help you? Because too many people give this long not to jump. They give this long, boring elevator pitch.
Mm.
Like you want to sell me something. I don't want to buy a jack from you. And I'm
Right.
being blunt. I don't
Right.
want to buy anything from you unless I know you.
Right.
If I
Yep.
don't, because it's all built on trust. How will I know you? Do I even like you?
Right. For sure. For
Can we
sure.
even do business
For
together?
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if I can't trust you or do business with you, then
Yeah. It's impossible, right?
it's impossible.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm guilty of everything that you just said. So I'm not. I don't want
Ouch!
y'all to.
Ouch! Ouch!
Yeah, I don't want y'all sitting here thinking that we over here on a high horse and
Right.
we forgot where we came from, right? But I can tell you, when I first got out of the military, I didn't know nothing about networking. I didn't
Right.
know anything about business or sales or
Right.
relationships. I didn't understand it. But you're 100% right. Over the years, I've come to discover like your relationship, like that's your money, that's your capital.
Exactly.
Who like when you realize like who's got my money, the relationships that you have has access to the money that you're trying
Exactly.
to make.
They know the right people,
Yeah,
and they know people to open doors for you.
for sure, for sure. So like when we start talking like you touched on something a few minutes ago, and I want us to kind of put a hammer on it, just kind of
Okay.
beat this point a little bit. You talked about the people you hung out with in college versus the people you didn't hang out with
Mm-hmm.
in college. And those people who you didn't hang out with went on to be CEOs,
Mm-hmm.
executives, etc. Looking back, what advice would you give to that young college, Sinclair Gray? I
Oh,
wasn't PhD doctor yet, so what would you give to Sinclair Gray?
wow. That's a good question. What advice? Hang with them, but don't drink.
Ah,
Because I hung with them in the classroom.
okay,
We were cool. We were cool in the classroom.
okay,
We were cool walking on the campus. It was after campus activities. Um,
gotcha.
I think really knowing my boundaries.
Okay,
Um, and I wasn't say I was this pure person because I never did drugs unless people want to say drinking is a drug. I
gotcha.
never been drunk. But I think that really putting my limits and letting them know, hey guys, I don't drink. My whole philosophy, like, no. I gave them a no answer. Sinclair, we're
Mm,
going to party. You want to come with us? No.
no, gotcha.
I should have been a little bit much more say, okay, I'll come with you, but look, I really don't drink.
Right, I'll be the
Or
DD.
right, I'll be your designated driver, or I'll just have a beer,
Right.
something of that sort. That's what I would say, and to not take those, not to overlook the meaning. And once again, I don't want to say the brothers, who I hung out with weren't successful. Some of them are pretty. Some of them are pretty good. We've lost contact, but the ones that you can kind of see, whose mom and daddy has certain things going
For
on.
sure, for sure, for
And I
sure.
think, for my to go back, I would say to build that relationship a little bit more. Don't limit it to just classroom,
Mm,
but limit it to outside the classroom.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think even in business, like I know I've had a season where I didn't feel so kind of context. When I first got out of the military,
Mhm.
I think I mentioned to this to you, I was in a moment of discovery,
Right,
right?
yeah.
A moment of self discovery and a moment of rebuilding
Mhm.
because, my entire professional career,
Mhm.
I was an airman, right? I was an Air
Okay.
Force member. And so now it's like, okay, what am I? And
Mm.
in that season, I didn't go to like there were even business events that I
Okay.
wouldn't go to because I knew there was going to be some party
Mm.
and I wasn't strong enough in my own maybe security around
Okay.
who I was, what my purpose for going to the event
Mhm.
was, because I know I probably would have gotten involved in the partying and the
Right.
drinking opposed to focusing on let me get this knowledge that I need,
Yeah.
to grow my business.
Right.
So no, I totally get exactly
Right.
what it is that you're saying, and I'm sure there are some people out there listening and watching this
Right.
who are probably struggling as well. So that's why I wanted you to,
Oh, yeah.
touch on that so that people can say, like, you know what, I can go. I just got to have those boundaries and
Yeah.
I got to have those parameters.
You gotta have boundaries, and you gotta be disciplined.
Right.
And I
Right.
think, you just can't follow everybody.
Mm.
Just because the CEO or whomever's drinking or doing whatever doesn't mean you need to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think once you know your boundaries, once you know, this is how far I'm going to cross,
Mm,
and not to sell yourself short.
gotcha.
And I think too many people nowadays, they're trying to sell themselves. They're selling their soul.
Mm,
We see that. Just look at the media.
right,
We see what's happening in the politics.
right.
No one is no one has the audacity to speak up when they see wrong.
Mm, yeah,
They go along to get
yep,
along because they're scared of their political future.
yeah, yeah.
And my question is, are you a man? Are you a woman? Where's your sense of morality?
Mm,
Who are you?
mm,
Or are you trying to kiss up so that you can get a certain position? I don't believe you have to kiss up for anything.
right.
I believe, yes, once we talked about before, you got to know how to play the game.
For
You
sure.
play the game, but it comes to the point whereby I'm not going to sell myself short.
Right.
I'm not going to allow a certain situation, a certain person, or a certain position, or whatever I'm trying to attain, um, to throw me off of my moral fiber.
Yeah, get me out of character.
Exactly, because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, I got to come home.
yeah,
At the end of the day, as we say, I want to look in the mirror, and do I recognize this person in the mirror?
right, right,
If I can't recognize this person in the mirror, something's wrong.
right. It's funny you say that because I got a client that I'm working with right now, and I was in their office today. And and so I'm gonna give some details, but
Mm,
not too many
okay.
details. But a member of the executive team came in
Mm,
today, and the culture is it's more hip hoppy.
hmm
It's more relaxed and laid back, just for kind of context. But when this particular executive is not there, it's real laid back. There's no music playing. Everybody's focused. Everybody's
Okay.
got their heads down on their computer, rocking it out, doing what they need to do. But and this is the second time I've noticed it. This executive shows up, the music comes on, there's
Wow.
dancing. It's like the entire culture just shifts. And so I text my wife and I was like, "Hey, I just noticed a pattern where the culture just shifts, when this person shows up." And she's asking a couple questions and it goes back to what we were just saying, like your character can't change just because you're in an environment
Right.
where certain people might be participating in certain things or
Right.
behave in certain ways. You got to stay, within your
Exactly.
character and don't allow them to pull you into some other
And
activities.
that's kind of odd because you would think you would flip it around. You would think many cases hip hop is going on.
But yeah,
And then when the executive walks in, okay,
yeah.
everybody put your head
Everybody
down.
put your head down. No, it's so I mean it's and don't get me and I'm this is not to bash the
Oh yeah,
culture
right.
or the company, whatsoever. It's just a pattern that, I noticed and it kind of linked to what we were talking
Mm,
about where, like you said, I can go out, but I'm not gonna participate in
exactly.
all the activities that you guys, are participating in.
Exactly.
So Doc, when let's touch on sales a little bit more.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to do that is because right now a lot of people are struggling. Right,
You're right.
there are things happening in the economy, whether that's on a global scale
Mm-hmm.
with tariffs, what President Trump is doing.
Mm-hmm.
We touched earlier with people struggling with not maybe getting their EBT food stamp,
Right.
rations and things like that. And I don't even know if a ration is the right
Can you
thing to call it, but it might be. I don't
just
know.
just not getting
They're
anything.
just not getting anything, right? And so when we talk about sales, walk us through like kind of your mentality. You mentioned service, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned problem solving, you mentioned,
Right.
just helping people.
Right.
Just kind of walk us through your mentality and how you approach that sales and maybe some practical steps so that people can say, you know what, I grabbed that nugget and I can go use that today.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Sales to me starts in the mind.
Okay, for sure.
That's the first and foremost. I am selling two things. I'm selling my product, well, product slash service.
Okay,
I'm selling me,
okay,
and I'm selling what I'm able to provide. I'm
yeah,
a problem solver.
for sure.
Problem solver, however you want to look at it. So that's what I deal with in sales. That's how I approach sales. I approach it to the point whereby I love meeting people. I love solving people. I love it.
Yeah,
So I think every time we come into contact with people, we're in sales.
Right.
We're selling ourselves. And I think the biggest mistake, and I have to say the biggest mistake people make is that they say, I'm not a salesperson.
Right.
Yes, you are.
Every day, all day.
If you're going for a job interview, you're a salesperson
Right.
because you need to sell yourself.
Right.
Resume is fine. You more important. So I think a lot of times we have to have it has to start in the mind. I'm selling me.
Mm,
Because if I sell myself, now when we have this interaction, who are you?
mm,
When you walk in that room or when you're sitting down, you have that type of confidence. So I think someone has to know you have to do that. Starts with the attitude. So
mm,
so you got to sell yourself. You have to sell your product. You have to have the right attitude and be confident. Also, it's part of also in the book networking, but it deals with sales. You have to be confident
mm-hmm.
in what you're selling.
For sure.
I think the biggest mistake people use they say two things, and it's a pet peeve of mine.
Okay.
When in sales, they say I think. No, stop thinking, start knowing.
Hmm.
Number two, when they start talking, they'll start rambling, which is
Okay.
okay. And then you know what they say, Jay? Well, to be honest with you, and I tell them, I said, stop. And they're like, what you mean? I said, so everything you told me was a lie
Up until now, right?
up until now. No, no, no. I said, so why did you say to be honest with me? I said, stop saying that. I said,
Right.
because that tells me everything you told me was a lie. Take that slang and throw it away because your slang is going to get you get you into trouble.
Gotcha.
So I think that's some of the stuff. That's how you have to approach sales. And I think you have to approach sales to ask yourself, what what problem is there? What problem is there, and what solution can I provide?
Mm,
Do I have the solution, whether it's a product or a service?
right.
Can I provide it? Can I articulate it?
Yep.
And then can I communicate it in such a way that you can understand?
Right. Right.
If I'm trying to sell this equipment right here, I know nothing about this particular type of equipment. So I can't say this equipment. I'll say the microphone sounds nice,
Right.
the camera takes good picture. But when you start asking more questions, I'm lost.
Right. Me too.
But if we start talking about what's the problem, if you say I'm having problems when I go to networking events, I'm just not connecting. Guess what? You have a problem. Now I'm the problem solver.
So, gotcha.
I not only wrote the book, but now I can coach you and teach you and train you on how to turn networking into a fun activity
Mm,
and get results.
for sure. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me, or uh, what resonated with me the most, is the shift or the focus of I'm a problem solver,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's leadership,
Mm.
that's sales. You should be approaching every person that you meet, in your journey with that kind of mentality and
Mm-hmm.
focus of, oh, this person has a problem. How can I provide them with a
Mm-hmm.
solution? And it's not. And so, for those of you who are out there listening and are watching this right now, if you have a financial cash flow problem right now, go find a problem to solve. There are plenty of problems in this world that
Yes.
people will happily pay you to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger the problem, the bigger the check. All
Exactly.
right. So I just wanted to drop that in there. But
Exactly.
so right now, in the work that you do, I know you do speaking, you
Mm.
do training, you've got your books, and we're going to talk about your
Okay.
other book here in a second. In the work that you do, what are some of the, I guess, kind of challenges that you see every day that are keeping people stuck?
Getting out of their comfort zone.
Okay.
I would say getting out of their comfort zone and not be willing to try.
Okay.
I think fear of the unknown.
For sure. For sure.
That's why I wrote the book. I,
Good segue. Go ahead.
um, and I think the idea that they're they have this quite. It's, I want to say that it's tied to fear, but this concept of I'm not quite sure.
Mm.
They seem to doubt themselves.
Okay.
So they go into what's holding people back. They hold themselves back
Mm.
because they have this limited thinking. So I find people who have been conditioned with limited thinking
Mm.
and they're comfortable with where they are and they don't aspire to go higher. Um, I don't know if it was their upbringing. I don't know if it was the people that they've been around, but they are so they're so what's the word I want to say, so limited.
Mm.
I've talked to people. I was kind of, there's one young lady wanted me to um, coach her, and I gave her my fee. You know, I said, look, I know your situation. I'm going to give you, I'm going to help you out. And she said, well, I can't afford you. Can you do it for free?
Mm.
No, I can't do it for free. And she said, well, she said, well, you're a minister. You're supposed to be giving back. I understand that. My bills,
Right.
I have gas bill,
Right.
light bill, car note,
Right.
insurance. Mind you, my wife and I pay insurance for 3 cars.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Insurance on 3 cars is not cheap.
Right.
Got like cell phone bill.
Right.
So we have certain things. So, yes, I don't mind doing free things. I do a lot of community service. I
Yeah.
have no
Right.
problem with that. We can barter, but once again, when I see that you're trying to take advantage, but then also what I did, Jay, I I told us I'm gonna give you 5 minutes free. I gave her 5 minutes free time, and I gave her some exercises to try to stretch her mind, and she didn't want to be stretched.
Mm.
And I said, okay, I said, you know what? You could become more of a problem for me. So at that time, I'm happy you didn't become a client because you could become a problem. And not saying everything is going to be easy, but I think that people who don't want to change, they're so comfortable. And I think that a lot of times it's their upbringing.
Right.
It's a lot of times of uh, who's in their ear.
Yeah. Who's influencing
And
them?
I'm gonna say this. I think can I be blunt?
You sure can.
I'm not gonna cuss.
You can if you want to.
I'm not gonna cuss. I think, and I know some folks get mad when I say this, some Christians, some
Right.
church folks who go to church
Right.
are some of the most biggest hypocrites when it comes to this one thing.
Okay. Just one thing?
Well, I'm gonna say,
But we won't get into
I'm
all
gonna
of
say
them.
this one
All
thing.
right.
On Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe if they go to Bible study, they'll shout, I can do all things
For sure. For
through
sure.
Christ who strengthens
For
me.
sure.
But on Monday,
Yeah.
I can't do it. Why
Yep.
can't you do it?
Yep.
Who in the hell told you couldn't do it?
What changed from yesterday to today?
You were screaming and shouting on Sunday. Did you forget did you forget what you believe?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Or all of a sudden was that good? Was that good sound check?
For sure.
So when I was pastoring, I challenged folks with that. Don't scream on Sunday, but then give me something limited what you can't do
Right.
on Monday through
For
Saturday.
sure. For sure.
Or you use this, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Great.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
Now I need you to step out on faith. I'm not asking, I was never asking people to pay money
Right.
for that.
Just act.
I just need you to step out on faith, go back to school, do this. Well, what if? What?
Right.
What if you get that scholarship? What if you get a grant?
Yep.
How are you going to believe on Sunday morning,
Yep.
but yet you can't take that belief throughout the week?
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem. And I would say, church folks who go to church a lot, I love them. And listen, I'm in the church myself.
Right.
Those are some of the ones who give me problems.
Oh yeah.
The ones who don't go to church a lot, or the ones who don't subscribe to the double-sided hypocrisy.
Right.
Those ones like, hey man, look, I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yep.
It's all right.
Yep.
Their whole philosophy, like, what the hell?
Yep. No, bro. I like so. All right, we gonna go there, and we won't. So we're clear. The intention is not to bash the church.
No, not at all.
And notice he just said the hypocrites, right? The ones who say one thing and do something totally different.
Right.
And I agree. And so when I hear those statements of, I can do all things, I tell them quick, I'm gonna hold you to that. And I challenge people. Like I've gotten to a point right now for me where for those who say that they are believers, I hold them to it. because you cannot say that you believe in the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the one who created it
Right.
all. You cannot say he is your father and he's going to protect you and shield you
Right.
through it all. But yet you're afraid like you say, step out on
And see,
faith and
I'd
do
rather you
things.
come up and tell me, I forgot the parable. I'd rather you say, Jay, yes, I know the scripture, I can do all things,
Right.
but I'm struggling with it.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
tell me that, you know
Yeah.
what? We in there.
Yeah, yeah.
We in there.
Because at least that means you've taken, to me, you've
Right.
taken the first step and said full responsibility. You know what? I want to try something, but I don't know what to do,
I'm
or
scared.
I'm scared to do
Right.
it, or
I can
whatever the
quote
case
it.
may be.
I
Yeah,
can quote it,
I'm with you.
but I'm really not there
I'm with
yet.
you. I can ride
It's
with
kind of
that.
like the brother. It's kind of like when Jesus told the guy by his door. He said, "Do you believe?" He said,
Right,
"Yes, I believe, but help my unbelief."
right, for sure, for
I'd
sure.
rather somebody say, "Yeah, I
Yep,
know the scripture,"
yep.
but you know what? At times it gets a little bit hard. Now we're on
I'm
that
I'm
same.
struggling. Can you help me out?
Now we
Yeah,
cool.
no, I'm with you. Like so, so like hypocrisy.
Mhm,
So full context for you might be new to me or you might be new to this show. When I first started ministry here in Georgia, I did go into the pulpit for about 12 months. And during that season was the season where I realized a lot of what we're talking about
mhm,
right now, where people show up on Sunday,
mhm.
Bible study on Wednesday. They do the lip service, right? They
Mhm,
they say all the right things. They dress real nice,
mhm.
but when it comes time to take action, they start backpedaling, and I call
Yes,
it hemming and hawing, right?
yes,
And so for me, that's when, through prayer and meditation, I came to the realization of God needs more of us to act our beliefs
yes,
than talk our beliefs.
yes.
Is that kind of like,
No, I know. I understand. I
okay?
understand.
Yeah. And so for me, when I look at you talked about our conditioning, you
Mm,
talked about our upbringing, you talked
mhm,
about, we behave certain ways
mhm,
because of.
mhm.
I agree with that. And again, that's why the show is what it is,
Right.
because I want us to challenge the status quo. I want us to disrupt, the patterns of behavior that keep so many people stuck. The church folk might say in bondage, right? Or even in our community, we talk about generational, curses.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time, if we want to break those curses, if we want to get out of bondage, if we really want to
Mm,
experience the fullness of God and everything that God has created us to be, we have to disrupt the patterns. We got to
yes.
disrupt the status quo.
Y-
Go ahead.
You know, it's funny you say that. You brought back a sermon I preached. I was preaching.
We preaching now, y'all. We preaching.
I preached a sermon. Good Lord, 2001. No, 2002. I think 2002, 2003. I just graduated. 2002. I just graduated seminary,
Hmm.
and I was preaching. And I'm gonna say I was preaching at the Shenandoah Valley Baptist Association in Virginia when I was staying in Maryland.
Okay.
And the association met the fourth Saturday, fifth Sunday. And at the time the pastor was like, "You got to go." I'm like, "Okay, why?" I'm like, "Why?" They was saying the same thing. Saturday they had two services. One
Hmm.
in the morning. After the morning service, eat, give reports. Afternoon service.
Right.
Sunday morning they would ask all the churches who was part of the association to shut down
Okay.
on that Sunday or meet at whatever church, have Sunday school, have service, morning service, eat dinner, then have a Sunday afternoon service.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, why? We're having all these services.
Hmm.
So they asked me to preach one time, and they told me, we're trying to get the youth here. I saw no youth. And the sermon I preached I think when spiritual education surpasses religious certification. And there was a
Mm.
part in the sermon, Jay, and this is not, you're not gonna get kicked off when I say this, so forgive me. I said, I told her, I said, you guys are worrying about where's the youth, where's the people. I said, you meet every fourth and fifth Sunday. You come in here, there's no youth, there's no programs, there's nothing. I said, you guys come here every other quarter. You guys perform what I like to call Shenandoah Valley Baptist masturbation. You come in and you have a good time and you produce absolutely nothing.
Mm.
And one of the church members fell in the seat. She said, "Oh Lord, this boy I'm
He
flipped."
lost his mind.
Old man came up and said, "Reverend, never heard a sermon quite like that before." I said, "Okay, sir." And one guy said, "Look, man, you ain't never coming back here to preach. They not gonna have you come back." I went
Right.
back there 2 times and preached.
Mm.
But I say that to say that's a lot of time. That's what happens for many people in churches.
Mm.
They come in, they have a good time, but they ain't producing.
Yep. Yep.
And I ain't talking about producing the fruit of the spirit.
Right.
Let's take that scripture. What are you producing in your life?
Your day-to-day walk.
Are you better on Sunday morning? Are you better when you left church than you were when you came in?
Right.
Not did you give me a whole bunch of amens and hallelujahs and I gave the church my tithes and offerings.
Right.
Are you better? Was there something in the sermon, whether it's a 5-minute sermon or 30 minutes, was there something in the sermon that made you think?
Mm-hmm.
And is your preacher preaching to challenge you?
Uh-oh.
I don't want to get no preaching thing because we know if a sermon is not going good, they'll take Jesus to the cross on Friday and wake him up on Sunday morning.
For sure.
And I'm like, how many times we'll keep doing that?
Right.
How many times we'll keep doing that? Because you'll get an amen in a minute.
For sure. But that's what they're doing it for, right? No. I mean, so for me, I agree. Like I tell people, tradition.
Yes.
Right. Or even religion. For me, that's the problem. That's just for me. And I don't care if you get mad at me or not. But we have to get away from religion and actually start literally being the community.
Exactly.
Being the church. And when I say being, we have to be it, right?
Yeah.
We have to act it out in our day-to-day life. We have to, like I tell people, I'm not perfect by any stretch of nobody's imagination. However, I do my best to live Jesus, right? And I think if we live Jesus, it's impossible for us to not be the church.
And that's what disruptive leadership is about. Because the problem is, who people are living? They're living Paul and not living Jesus.
Now Paul, my man. Now, come on, you got to talk to him. And Paul's my man in the sense of his passion, right? On both sides, because Paul had two sides.
Right.
His passion on both sides is what makes Paul my man.
See, what we do, and I'm not knocking Paul.
Right.
Many people will preach Paul,
okay,
but they don't preach Jesus.
Okay.
Because Jesus was radical.
He definitely was. Without it,
he wasn't.
Now they're gonna get mad at you.
He wasn't just
that.
Well, look when. Okay, for those to get mad at me. Okay,
right.
Okay. Remember when Jesus first went to the synagogue in Luke 4? He quoted Isaiah, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news to the poor." That's revolutionary.
Right.
That's liberation.
Right.
He wasn't just. He challenged the system, and once again, disruptive leadership. Many people, when we really think about it for a second, and then I don't want to mess people's theology up. Now, I love the Lord.
Mess it up.
I love the Lord.
Mess it up.
Many people will say, if you ask them a simple question, why was Jesus crucified? They'll tell you, he was crucified for my sins. Jesus was crucified because he dared to mess up the Roman system.
Absolutely.
Rome lynched him.
Absolutely.
Deal with the truth.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to live Jesus, you're going to disrupt systems.
All I can do is nod my head.
I think a lot of times we get caught up into tradition.
Yep.
We get caught up in so many things, and we have to understand what leadership is about. And I think that it's okay to have your theology challenge. Every week, I'm on a call for a good friend of mine, and that's part of my global part when I speak with them. because we got people from all different walks of life.
Right.
I got brothers from Cameroon, got sisters from Korea,
Nice.
India, Pakistan, and we don't talk Christianity, we talk spirituality, and our whole job is how are we building bridges.
Mm-hmm.
So when they tell me, brother Gray, we need you to speak, I'm speaking to all these folks here from different countries, different religions, different denominations. And I tell them, look, I'm a Christian preacher, but I'm not going to be preaching Bible. I'm going to preach one thing, love. I don't have to agree with everything you do, but I'm going to preach love. When I see you, hey, what's up, brother? When I see my Korean sister, what's up, sis? How you doing? Because we all have this whole kind of love concept, but in a sense, Jay, we're all going through something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My brother from the Cameroon, he's going through something. Brother from Pakistan going through something. We all got something that we're going through. So if we want to be, as you say, if I want to live Jesus in me, then I got to deal with what they're dealing with.
You got to
because Jesus dealt with issues.
Right.
He got to the root of the problem.
Absolutely.
He said, "Oh, Sister, be well." He challenged people,
Yep.
and that's something that a lot of churches aren't doing. And because, and I blame the leadership behind that.
For sure.
I blame the leadership, and I'm not knocking churches. That's why we have 1,000 churches on the corners in black neighborhoods, but yet many black neighborhoods, you still got liquor stores, Chinese carryouts, and all this stuff. It's like, where in the hell is the church?
Yep.
Are you gonna pray to where you go, or you gonna put your feet to action?
Yeah. And like you said, it comes back to leadership, though.
Right.
Our communities, our homes, our businesses, everything comes down to leadership.
Exactly.
And unless we continue to challenge those who are leadership positions to continue to grow and transform themselves, challenge those who are below us to grow and transform, and even our peers, right?
Yeah.
We have to all challenge each other, hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times, at least for me, I know for a fact, a lot of times we don't hold each other accountable because I'm not good in my own walk, or I'm not holding myself accountable to what I should be doing when you're not around.
Exactly.
So how can I possibly hold you accountable when you are around? So,
or they may say, "Hey, you ain't perfect.
100%.
How you gonna hold me accountable when you got issues?"
Absolutely.
Well, iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
If I hold you accountable, then you hold me accountable.
Yep. And we both get sharper.
Exactly.
And we both get sharper. So let's jump over into the second book.
Okay.
I do want to go a little bit more in depth into the what motivated you to write that particular book.
Title of the book is called "Fear Doesn't Get a Vote: How to Overcome Doubt, Jealousy, and Everything That Holds You Back." What helped me start with the word fear. My wife and some other people, because it's sales.
Okay.
My wife, she's retired, but she's in sales now, and I'm always looking. I'm like, baby, you gotta get out there, and she knows her stuff,
Right.
but she operates on fear.
Gotcha.
And I can't counsel my wife.
Trust me, I know.
I can't train. I mean, I taught her how to network at times, but I'm like, you have stop being fearful. And I think what happens that she worked a job for 33 years, whereby she wasn't in sales.
Gotcha.
So now she loves what she does, but now the sales part becomes fearful. And I think she was the catalyst to really get it started.
Okay.
But just talking to other people in my walk, whether it's in the church, whether it's just wherever, hearing people say, I'm nervous.
Okay.
Hearing people not trained. I want to do this, but I'm afraid.
Okay.
Going back to my own life, telling my mother, God rest her soul, Mom, I want to be in sales. And she told me, well, I think you need to have a stable job because sales is so unpredictable. God bless me. That was my mom.
Right.
What am I supposed to say?
Right.
Okay, Mom. But eventually, I think she kind of came around to it. But I think what happens is that we tend to carry on other people's fear.
Absolutely, for sure.
And so when I say fear doesn't get a vote, we vote. We just voted yesterday. So you can't have fear get a vote in your life.
Right.
And the sub part, how to overcome doubt, We all going to have doubt. We all going to have jealousy from family members, jealousy from friends. And that's the hardest part. How do you deal with jealousy when it comes from people who that you know, that you love? Who cares about strangers?
Yep. Yep.
But when my wife is not one, thank God, but what happens when your loved one sees your progress, sees your growth, sees your success, and becomes jealous of you
Absolutely.
by saying these type of words, look at you now, or you think you all that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not to toot my own horn, it's like, no, I'm not, or I don't want to say I'm all that, but I refuse to settle for settling.
Absolutely.
So now you got to deal with that jealousy when you're trying to explore new options. So the question is, do you shrink back or do you keep growing? But that's your boo, that's your baby, that's your man, that's your woman. How do you say, I can't let this hold me back? This is what the book did. The book gives you simple steps, gives you scripture, gives you actionable steps on what to do. It hits everything hard. 18 chapters. I have a friend of mine who's a CEO, and he texted me. He said, "Bruh, your book, man," he said, seemed like you was just counseling me one-on-one.
I love it. I love it.
So I love the book. It came out middle of September.
Okay. So now where can people go to get a copy of that book?
People can go, there's two places. Number one, I would ultimately prefer if you go to my website, which is www.sinclairgray.org. And I spell my name SINCLAIRGREY.org. Click on books. The reason I prefer that because you and I have a connection. Every copy is signed by me.
I love it.
I sign it. I give you a nice little note inside, and I mail it same day. So, I have plenty of copies. I have a garage. I got plenty of books in there.
Gotcha.
That's that part. And you'll get the book 2 or 3 days. The other way is Amazon. Amazon, yes, but I would prefer that you buy it from me at sinclairgray.org because one, we have a connection. With that, you'll go to my website, you'll get my contact information, you'll get my phone number, and you'll eventually, you'll get my business card, you'll have my email address. So now we can talk. We're family.
For sure.
We're family.
I love
Amazon, you don't know me.
Gotcha. Now look, go buy the book from his website. Don't give Amazon any of his profit. Amazon don't need his money. Give Dr. Gray all his money. He needs his
Amen.
money.
Yes, I do.
And we're going to put the link to his website down in the show description so that you can just click on it and go straight and get the book. Hey, Dr. Gray, I appreciate you.
Thank
I'm
you.
super grateful for having you sit down and have a conversation with me. I can talk about this kind of stuff.
The pleasure's been all mine.
And until the sun come up tomorrow
Most
morning.
definitely.
So I thank you. I appreciate you. And you keep doing all the great work.
Thank you so much. You the same.
All right, brother. All right, folks, that is it for another exciting episode of Disruptive Leadership Podcast. Make sure you follow the show, subscribe, and share it with anybody who is in your network because here on the Disruptive Leadership Podcast, we are all about disrupting some shit. Until next time, y'all keep being great. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.